Fat Cat Radio 247. You're live in the mix. I'm your host, Twism White Piece. Today, we've got an amazing video interview with none other than the radio television host, actor, writer, clothing designer, and publicist, Jimmy Star, whose credits include Incubus, Son of Morning, a plethora of movie Marvel credits, including an Asgardian guard. That was just cool right there. And some of his guests on his hit show include Rebecca Knox, Pink, Mickey Burns, Cece Peniston, and a superstar known as John B. Jimmy Star, my brother, my friend, my man. How are you doing today?
I am fabulous and happy to be here. What's up, everybody? You got your host, Twism White Piece, badass hip hop superstar in the making.
Well, I mean, you know, we all have our little niche in this world. I think though, I'm in the presence of greatness right now. I got the man who's seen it and been there and done it all, man. What's it like being an iconic entertainment, you know, just that
mogul.
icon?
I like the word mogul.
Mogul, there you go, mogul. Yes, exactly.
And you got for producer, because that's going to be my next big thing is movie producer. I got 18 films I'm working on that are going to be coming out, and I'm putting a lot of effort into that. So we're going to add producer to the list of credits. Nice. And you know what? I'm just like everybody else, dude. I'm hustling. I'm trying to make a name for myself. I'm trying to survive just like everybody else and having a good time doing it. And I think that's the whole thing is you just got to have fun doing it, because you never know how successful you're going to be. But hey, if you don't try, you know, you're going to have a lot of regrets. So I just fucking go for everything I want to do and see how it works out. And I've been very fortunate that some of it's working out pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people are always so focused on where they got to be, what they got to do, get it done, that they forget, you know, like what's that old saying? I think it goes, the journey is part of the fun, right? It's about the work included. It's about the steps you walk to get to wherever you're trying to go that make that journey so fun, you know.
That's right.
Crazy, you know.
You gotta have fun all the time, because you never know if you're really how successful you're gonna be. So if you're not having fun as you're going along and you only want to be, you know, famous or whatever, then you're really missing the whole boat.
Exactly. All right, so let's start from the beginning. Who is Jimmy Star? You know, the whole who, what, when, where, why kind of thing.
Right now, Jimmy Star's an old man. Getting older every day, but you know what? I always wanted to be in entertainment. When I was a kid, I could sing, but when my voice changed, I couldn't sing anymore. And I thought, shit, if I'm going to work in entertainment, I got to figure out how I could do it. So I started out as a celebrity clothing designer. I dressed Elton John. I did the costume design for Too Fast, Too Furious. I dressed every major horror movie star on the planet, and everything was going really good. I was featured in Women's Wear Daily, which is like the pinnacle of fashion. Like if you're in Women's Wear Daily, like means you're it's a really big deal.
That's up there. Okay.
That's the up thing. That's like being in, you know, Rolling Stone or something, you know.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
So I was featured in that, and then I had a problem. The government came, they eminent domained my property. I lost my building and all my money, and I basically had to reinvent myself and start all over, because I lost $4.2 million in a really crooked government deal where the government ripped me off. And so I had to redefine who I was, and I started out doing radio hosting. I had already been doing some acting, started radio hosting, and it caught on really quick. And then I met Ron, and we turned it from radio into television and radio. And it's really, really good. And I was working in films. And then about 3 years ago, I started becoming a publicist, and that blew up. And so I'm kind of in all facets of entertainment. And
I'm everywhere.
You know what? I do a lot of things just to see if I can do them too. Like I didn't know I could write. It's funny. I went to lunch one day with somebody who I've known for a long time. And I said, how's your book coming? And they said they were still working on it. This is a dude who was working on a book for 5 years, right?
Wow.
And I was like, It can't be that fucking hard to write a book, right? So I just wanted to see if I could do it. So then I went out and I wrote 6 books in 6 months and got them published. And one of them, you know, went to #1 on Amazon. And I was just you know, all these people, I think people want to say that they're doing something to sound important or something, but they don't actually do anything, you know?
Never follow through.
People. It's like in music. You see people, I'm working on a new album. And you talk to them 3 later. Yeah, I'm still working on the new album. Get your fucking shit together, man. It doesn't take fucking 3 months to fucking write
Hey,
an album.
you need some help? You need some help? I know a couple
Right.
people.
That's
Right.
And I can hook you up. So a lot of times, that's how the whole writing thing came about.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the initial thing to get me in to be a publicist, because you got to be able to write to be a publicist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I became a publicist with Eileen Shapiro, our company called World Star PR. And do you know the
She's so
story?
awesome.
Do you know the story?
I haven't, but I've been bits and pieces of it from listening in on the show and stuff. But let's go ahead and give the full story of,
All right, so
of
here's the
Eileen
deal.
Shapiro, Jimmy Star story.
Eileen Shapiro came on the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell as a guest to promote one of her books, right?
Okay.
Her and Ron hit it off fabulously, and we went to Fire Island in New York and hung out with her, and we became friends. And then we decided that we were going to go on a ghost hunt at an abandoned like psychiatric insane asylum in New York. And we had Eileen come because she was the writer. Ron and I were the host. We had Kadrosha Ona Karol, who's the queen of the paranormal, and she was going to be. And then we invited Ricky Rebel, who's like a big pop star guy who used to open up for Britney Spears and did all kinds of stuff.
Gotcha.
So we all went, snuck through a second floor window. We did this whole like big, thing, and it was hilarious. It was really funny. It's on YouTube. It's got 260,000 views. It's really funny.
And I've seen that. Now I've seen that. That's what I've seen. That's where I understand the story from. So
the comic book is coming out now in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was a successful Kickstarter, correct?
Yes. Yep, we did a successful Kickstarter. Thank you, everybody who donated. So then when the whole thing was over, all of us had met through the same publicist.
Yeah.
She had booked Eileen on my show, and she had booked, and we all met through the same publicist. And so we were talking, and we found out that the publicist charged people a lot of money to come on my show, and a lot of people money for Eileen to interview him. And Eileen and I were like, shit, she made tons of money, and we didn't make a fucking penny.
Yeah.
I was like, we should become publicists. I said, every publicist on the planet always contacts me and asks me to help them do stuff, and I never make any money. Right. Here everybody else is getting fat, and I'm like fucking practically like ready for food stamps or something. So I was just like, okay, let's fucking do this shit. So we started the company, and within our first month, we had 10 clients, and it's always been good ever since then. So it's World Star PR, and Eileen is phenomenal. And that's how the whole thing happened. And it's also given us an ability to meet all kinds of great famous people. And we go to all kinds of red carpet events between that. And my show gets us, a lot of invites to the thing. And so we just go and we have to meet cool people like you and have a good fucking time.
Hey, I'm still waiting for you to come here and have some ice cream with me.
Hey, we're good. And for all of you who don't know, Ice Cream, that's Twism's freaking hit song. And he was just nominated for some big award. And Ice Cream,
6 of them, actually. 6 of them. Yeah,
right.
All because of ice cream too. So it's crazy. Blessings to everybody on that, man. I appreciate y'all. You too.
Still voting for that? Are we still voting for that?
Every day, man. Anybody who can get out there and vote every day, man. Yeah, it's the ISSA music nominations. I mean, the links are posted not only on all social media pages of mine. Of course, other people sharing it around, but you can just Google search ISSA music and go to the nomination form, and you'll see my name all right there. But
everybody needs to vote for Twism White Peace because all the other people suck. And he is the fucking king. So screw those fuckers and just vote for Twism.
This is.
I didn't even look at any of the other categories. I just went through each one looking for your name, and I was like, and one of the categories I did vote for that you weren't in, it was a band category because the guys had been on my show, so I voted for them. And other than that, I was just like, these people suck.
Some of those people are actually really good, man. I can't lie. Some of them are actually really good. So, I mean, I'm in there with a great group of indie artists. So, to everybody that is involved in that competition and that nomination and everything, I mean, it's worthy enough. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you're not just in there with a bunch of people who know nothing. You're in there with real independent artists who are really pouring out their hearts. So, it's a blessing to be there. But what are we talking about?
If Twism doesn't win, the fucking shit is rigged. I'm telling you, everybody in there is really good, and then he's like super good.
We'll start our own, Jimmy. We'll start our own next year. We'll have our own award show next year. It'll be the Jimmy Star Hip Hop Award Show or Independent Music Award Show or something.
Independent Music Awards. I'm all down with it. But everybody vote for Twism because he's badass. And for anybody who doesn't know, who's like living under a rock, he wrote the Jimmy and Ron song, which is like a tribute for the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, and it is the fucking greatest hip hop song released in 2020.
Which you can see part of the green screen construction over here for that song. I mean that we're building a room over here that's all ready to get involved into that. So
you guys gotta listen to it, and Drake and all you fucking hip hoppy people need to be listening to it, because this shit fucking blows your shit out of the water.
Yes, yes, it
Drake's
does.
like nothing compared to the fucking Jimmy and Ron song. Let me tell you.
Exactly. See, now that's what I've been trying to say.
Absolutely.
All right.
Probably the reason you have more of a trouble breaking in and being recognized for your greatness is the fact that you're white, dude. If you weren't white, you'd probably be on the top of the charts, because you're white. Like you got some hurdles you got to jump over. You know, you got hurdles you got to jump over.
You know, not everybody's angry and hates their wife and mothers, and
that's right. And not everybody's like pimping out whores and all kinds of other shit. You know, some of us have values and morals, families.
Yes, exactly. Dreams, the whole idea. You got it, brother. You got it. You got it. So speaking of all of these dreams and ideas, man, I want to get back to something here, man. First, I want to say, the question is going to be, what's your greatest achievement? But I want to lead into that question by asking you about the freaking Asgardian guard, bro. You like an Asgardian guard. You were on the set of Thor, and you had this whole outfit.
I'm all dressed up in like the outfit, dude. I'm in so many movies. Look, I'm not like a big player in any of them. I'm a big player in indie shitty movies, and then the big movies, I just get on to go meet people and find guests for the show, things like that. So I think I've been in like probably 5 or 6 Marvel movies and a bunch of DC movies. I'm in Batman. I'm in a whole bunch of them.
So now, of these, real quick. Now, has any of it led to any? Did you meet Chris Hemsworth or Evans or no? Not
they make you stay away from them when you're there. So hang on,
really? So there's that separation, huh?
Yeah, they separate the peons from the superstars, but it's just fun to be there, and you're on there. Like I used to be on a TV show called Burn Notice, and I got an ego of myself, and it was a really popular TV show with
Notice was good. I've watched a couple of
Bruce Campbell and stuff, and so like we were all at the lunch thing, and they tell you you're not supposed to talk to the big stars of the thing, but like I'm Jimmy Star, so I don't ever fucking pay attention to that. I get up, go over, sit down at the table, start talking to them. I thought they were all gonna shit themselves. They were like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I was like, "I'm Jimmy Star. You know who I am?" I was like, "I got more Twitter followers than you do." And I just start talking.
Don't you love that? Don't you love that? I mean, come on. You're sitting next to somebody who's billions, millions of dollars worth, but your followers, your success, is all like, why are you even? You know what I mean? You should be sitting at my table, not me coming to your table. You know what I mean? So, I find that so ironic all the time.
Here's some of the ones I was in, though. Let's see. I'm in X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Yep.
I'm in all 3 John Wick movies.
I didn't see the John Wick ones.
I'm in Rock of Ages. I'm in Avengers. I'm in Fast 5. I did the costume design for Too Fast, Too Furious. I met Paul Walker and all those guys. They were cool. They let you meet them.
Now, see,
I wasn't there.
That's worthwhile to me. Like on your end, that had to be like one of those things that you rate up there as being, yeah, man, I did that.
Paul Walker was the coolest guy ever. He really was. Very, very cool. I'm in Spider-Man 3. I'm in Miami Vice, Superman Returns, Transporter 2, Batman Begins, Spider-Man 2, The Punisher, Bad Boys 2, Too Fast, Too Furious.
You're in Bad Boys 2? Hold on. You're in Bad Boys 2?
Yeah, X-Men.
Wait a second. Go back. That's like one of my favorite movies of all time. What are you in Bad Boys
2? I'm just a fucking person. Like, you'll never even fucking see me probably. That shit's in Miami. That shit's in, they filmed a lot of that shit in Miami, and I was from Miami. I lived there for the first 50 years of my life. So
you were born there or what?
Yeah, I'm born in Miami.
Okay.
And every movie that was shot in Miami, I'm in, because I had like a little agent, and they send you to it. You make 100, 125. I don't know if you're featured, then you make $150 a day or whatever. You just go and see who you can meet. But that's how I got my roles. People make fun, and they're like, "Oh, you don't want to be an extra, and you don't want to do this stuff." But like most of the time, the extras are indie producers, filmmakers, and stuff, and then they meet you, and then they put you in their indie films, and then you get
networking.
Yeah, and you keep networking. So I used to go just to network, and it was fun.
Nice.
Now,
out of all of that, or actually, let's say just out of that, because I'm going to ask you this 2-part ways. I led in with what's the greatest achievement. So out of all of that you listed and all of that you've done, what's your greatest achievement of that role, those characters?
script, all of it is fun. I don't even know if I consider any of it really like an achievement. It really more of just cool stuff I get to do. I get to do so many cool things. It's hard to pick out one. My greatest achievement was meeting Ron and marrying Ron. That was like it. Seriously.
See, I was gonna go with that, but see that was the next question. So how'd you meet Ron, right? But I didn't want to.
I'll tell you about.
I didn't want to jump ahead too fast.
Well, I enjoy everything. I guess the Jimmy Star Show, Ron Russell is a big achievement. Winning Best Publicist in the U.S. was a big thing for me. Best Entertainment Publicist was a big thing for me. Now working on films and producing films, and I think I'm going to have my first major film, financed soon, and that's going to be a big deal. What else? Other great achievements? Fuck, being featured in the fucking Jimmy and Ron song is one of my greatest achievements. That shit's fucking awesome. I love it to death. One of my greatest
achievements too, bro. One of mine too.
Having a comic book, you know what? I like you because everybody thinks like I'm like this fucking like successful like rich guy, and yeah, I have a lot of success, and I'm not poor, but I'm not rich by any means.
Right.
I'm hustling. I'm working every day. I'm hustling. I'm working. I got car payments and house payments and shit, just like everybody else. And so for me, I think my achievement is just to wake up healthy every day, having a good time, and getting to do what I like to do. And I don't have to go work at a store or the post office or someplace. I get to actually like support myself doing what I love to do, and that to me is the biggest achievement of all.
Right.
So I'm not rich. I'm not making millions of dollars, but I'm also don't have to go to a job every day that I hate. I work in my office every day, which if you guys, you can't really see, but I got toys everywhere and my collections and stuff like that. For me, I get to have fun doing what I enjoy doing and making enough of a living to live.
Exactly. So, and I think ultimately, one of the, and not to say it, but one of the things that has come with age is the ability to understand it's not about what you got. It's about it's not about what you're, striving for. It's about what you've got. You know what I mean? And you definitely appreciate that. Now, obviously, we threw in Ron, and we're gonna give him his big hugs and big loves, man. But how did you meet him, man? How did that come to be, man? Because you guys are so adorable, man. You guys are great together, man.
It's like a crazy story, right? So, I was working in the Boca Mall and walking around. I was really just walking around. I did have a job there for a couple of months. Right. So Ron was walking by, and he had a white shirt and white flip flops and white linen pants, and he looked gorgeous. And I walked up to him and I said, "Oh my God, you're like the hottest guy in this mall." And he looked at me and he goes, "Go fuck yourself." And he kept walking.
Typical Ron.
And I followed him around, and he was like, I followed him around, and he was just gorgeous, right? So like I was following him around, and he was getting irritated and everything, and then I left. So then like 2 weeks later, I saw him again in the mall. This time he was with like whoever he was dating. And I just walked right up to him and I introduced myself and told him I was a radio show host, because back then I was a popular radio show host. And he had a TV show on Time Warner Cable where he interviewed all the legends of Hollywood called Set the Record Straight. And he said, this is his friend that he was dating or whatever. And he said, we're throwing a big Halloween party, and we got hired to do the entertainment. Would you like to be a Undertaker, an actor in it? And I said, yes. So then he did a dinner beforehand with all the actors, a four-man spaghetti dinner. It's basically what you do in the acting field. So everybody gets to know each other.
Right.
And at dinner, we were all talking and having a good time. And then when dinner was over, everybody was sitting down on the couch. And when Ron sat down, I ran and jumped and sat down next to him before the boyfriend could sit next to him. And I started rubbing his neck and shit. And you could just see the boyfriend freaking out. Then I told him I was a clothing designer and I wanted to see his closet. And so then he took me to his closet and I tried to kiss him in the closet. And he was like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're like fucking crazy." And so then we did the event. He thought I was weird. I wore shirts. Fuck me, I'm famous, and I wore all this kind of stuff, and I had earrings and all this stuff. So he just thought. And
he seemed more conservative.
He's very conservative. He's like he could be like a poster boy for Ralph Lauren.
Hey, that's a truth, boy. That is the truth.
Yeah, he could be a poster boy. So then we did the event, right? And I was an Undertaker, and so I took out all my earrings, and I had my hair cut real short, and I put on a blue pinstripe suit and a tie and everything. And then he looked at me and he was like, "Oh my God, he's kind of cute. He's not all weird."
Yeah, because he's seen it now.
He's seen me like more like what he would like me to see.
Right.
And then we just kind of like started hanging out a little bit. And then in between the time, and then at that night, the boyfriend was in the thing also. And he came up to me and he says, "I give up. You win." And I was like, ka-ching, and that was it.
Boom.
Yeah. So
That's
I
awesome. So
it
it
was
was
a
an
lot of fun.
opposites attract kind of story, man. Like,
Right. It was an opposites attract because he's very he's not conservative thinking, but he's conservative, dressing. Even though he's pretty wild, he's great
yeah,
looking. He's fun. He's super talented. He's a great actor.
funny as hell.
And, he's funny as hell, and he has no filter. So like he
Yeah.
says whatever he thinks, which most of the time is like offensive to somebody.
It's
But
got somebody out there got mad.
yeah.
For sure. That's
But
great.
that's it. And we had our 8-year anniversary, our 8-year Winery anniversary back in October. So we were 8 years. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I was reading somewhere when I was doing my research on you and everything that it said you were the first openly gay hosts of that time era.
Yep.
So I mean that in itself has to be one of those achievements that you seem to carry around. Maybe I mean.
Our show was on before anybody. The Jimmy Star Show, which is now the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. I've been on there for almost 12 years.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Nobody
for
was
your time, you were the first
Yeah.
openly gay couple, or
nobody was even streaming back then. Like internet radio was just getting started, and nobody was hardly doing it. So we were like pioneers at the very beginning. I should give up props to Dean Piper because he's the owner of W4CY, which is where our show broadcasts from.
Oh,
and
nice!
he's like a visionary, and like he brought us on. I actually started out as a radio host. He had an ad on Craigslist looking for interns, and I told him I didn't want to be an intern, but I knew a lot of famous people. I wanted to have a show.
Well, let me get some programming time, and I'll see what I can do for you. Right? Yeah, exactly.
And we did our first like 4 shows, and they were like 50 minutes long. And he came and he said, would you like to do a 2-hour show? Because the ratings were really good. Everybody was tuning in, and so.
Nice.
So then we moved to a 2-hour show, and before I did that though, I was also on the radio in Florida, and Y100, which is a huge radio station in Florida, and it was also Y100 and Z100, which is in New York. They did a bit when Queer Eye for the Straight Guy was on television the first time.
Yeah.
Many years ago. They did a radio version of it, and so I was the fashion guy for the radio version. So I was on the radio like all the time for that for like months.
Okay.
We had a blast.
So you've basically been pioneering for a while, it seems like, in some senses, whether it's the clothing, whether it's the shows, whether it's, just, your lifestyle. I mean, it seems like in any way you've always been a forefront leader in that, that field.
Always.
That's great, man. That's commendable right there, man. I like hearing stuff like that. So when you met Ron, now, you said before it was the Jimmy Star Show, and then it became the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. What was the driving force? Was it Ron's idea? Was it your idea? How did that? How did you go from the Jimmy Star Show to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell? Just because you got with him, or because of his expertise in the television and your expertise in the radio?
Both. A little bit of all. I stayed at the Jimmy Star Show for a little bit while we were working out all our kinks.
Right.
Because I had 3 other co-hosts originally on the Jimmy Star Show, and eventually I got rid of all of them and brought Ron on, and then we didn't need anybody else to do it with us. And it was his idea. It was his idea for us to go to video. Hang on, sorry about that.
No worries.
And it was his idea to go to video. And start doing the video part of it, which we did before anybody was doing it. Even Ellen and everybody did it after us.
Right.
Because we're about 8 years into that or something already that we've been doing video, and nobody was doing it beforehand. So it kind of had to do with the fact that it was his idea to go to video. If it was just called the Jimmy Star Show, it doesn't encompass him,
Right.
He's half the show and he's the funny half of the show.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like he's on the marquee, like how in movies they always put like featuring the biggest stars at the top or whatever. So he's kind of like with Ron Russell is his featuring, that he's like kind of like the star because I'm the business guy and the facts guy, and he's the guy who comes up with all the funny shit. So it works out really good, and thankfully, we're getting a lot. We get a lot of plays. We're averaging, somewhere between 4 and 5 million every week, which is pretty good. So
I mean, Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and we're getting a lot of great guests. We get a lot of really good guests.
So some of these guests of like Rebecca Knox of what was that?
Orange is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black. Pink, that one blew my mind. Mickey Burns, that guy is incredible. I've seen a lot of his shows and stuff, like just randomly, and I didn't even know. Yeah, well, see, like before you even interviewed him, I had seen some of his stuff and never even would have, known anything more about him. Just I had watched his shows and stuff. Cece Peniston and John B. I mean, these are legends and superstars, multi-award win, what, platinum on most levels.
Man, John B and CC Peniston are like multi-platinum.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So where you got to feel like you're sitting amongst the stars. I mean, you're that comet or that constellation that just gets to float among the stars. What does it feel like when you're sitting there and you're talking to somebody of that caliber? I mean, of that legendary. I mean, I know how I feel talking to you and your legendary status. I mean, I can only imagine, how you would feel about somebody that's even more grand, more phenomenal. You know what I mean? And like, is that
the
case or?
No, you know what? Everybody, they don't like it when you treat them like they're somebody special. Everybody's a regular person. Everybody's hustling. Everybody's doing their grind. It doesn't matter how famous you are. You're still doing your grind. You know
Okay,
what?
respectable on how you treat them, but I'm talking about inside. I'm talking about how you feel inside.
Some of them, because I like them so much. Sometimes for me, the ones that I like the best aren't even the biggest stars, but I'm just a fan because I like something certain that they did.
Yeah.
Like out of all the actors in the world, my favorite actor is Lance Henriksen. He's a really big actor. He's been in a ton of things, but he's not like, most people would pick like Brad Pitt or something. I pick Lance Henriksen.
We got our top fives, right?
Yeah, so you got your like, favorites, and so
yeah.
I think the fact that I get to know him and I get to meet him, and like Lance Henriksen, I've actually met. He actually gave me this really cool gift.
Nice.
He was an alien, and he makes these alien tiles of the alien monster, and he gave me one of them. He doesn't sell them; he just makes them. He gave it to me, and he wrote something about how like great I was or something on the back, and I was so excited. I've had. To get my clothing line out there, I used to go to conventions, autograph signing conventions.
Yeah.
And so I would go and I'd meet the celebrities and say, hey, look, I'm a clothing designer. If you wear my shit, I'll fucking give it to you as long as you take pictures, Yeah, and I love horror movies. That's my thing, is horror movies. So
just I met too really easy.
So I had dressed all these famous horror movie people, but one of my all-time favorites is Clive Barker. He's the guy he's a huge, like, New York Times best-selling author.
Yes.
So, and he does Hellraiser and all these great fucking books, right? So I had met him. I met him, and he said, thank you for the invite, and I'd give him a card, but he didn't come to the room, and I was so disappointed. And I was at a VIP party at this convention, and I get a phone call, and it was him, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and he said, hey, you know what? I saw some of your clothes, and I'd really like to come and take a look. Would that be possible? Absolutely.
Yeah, man, come on.
And so he came to my room and stayed in my room from like 11:30 till like 7 in the morning, telling us Hollywood stories. And one of his books called Aberrat, he made me a one-of-a-kind drawing on the inside of it.
Really?
And like when his comic book, he did a comic book and he sent me an autographed copy of it. I mean, it was like for me, it was like meeting, like whoever your favorite person would be.
Yeah, that's the one, right? Yeah.
Sitting in my room, 7 hours, and I also got to be Elton John's guest at a concert where I got to hang out with him in his dressing room, and that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, I seen that. I mean, that's.
I've been super fortunate. All the people are cool. You know what? They're all cool. I've had a good time. I have had very few bad celebrity encounters where the celebrities I thought were assholes, and I've just been fortunate to get to go and do really cool shit, and I love it. I think it's so exciting when I meet new people, especially when they come on the show and stuff. Like we have Adrienne Barbeau coming on next week.
Right.
Tomorrow we have Venus de Milo Thomas coming on. We have Scotty Schwartz coming on in a couple of weeks, and he's the guy from A Christmas Story. Did you ever see A Christmas Story?
Yes.
With the kid with the BB gun? Well, he's the kid who gets his tongue attached to the pole.
Rock on. That's so. Man, that's cool. See.
And he's also in The Toy, which was a huge movie with Jackie Gleason and Richard Pryor, and he was the kid.
Yes, I actually remember watching that where they were just buying toys. Right?
Yeah, he was like some rich kid.
Yeah, he had $30 million he had to spend or something like that.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah,
but I just
or was that Brewster's Millions? Maybe
that's Brewster's Millions. That's Brewster's Millions. But anyway, he's coming on, and I just got information. Pia Zadora is going to come on, who used to be like this supermodel little chick. And
nice.
So it's just fun to like meet new people and get new people to come, on the show and have a good time. And so we're always looking for fun people.
your stuff that you did when you were the clothing designer, and then all of these things now. Do you think that the clothing designer lifestyle and the interactions that you experienced during that clothing lifestyle, do you think that they prepped you and ready for you to be in this situation now?
Yeah, I think so, because as a clothing designer, I worked with so many famous people. And so, like, yeah, I think it probably helped me not get all freaked out and be able to talk to not be able
Indulge
to
you
talk
down
to
a little
famous
bit, right?
people. Yeah, where I don't get like nervous or any,
Yeah,
talking. Every once in a while, I'll meet somebody and I lose my breath because I'm like, oh my God, I can't even believe that actually happened. Here I
right.
am talking to this person who's like IMDb numbers like in the top 50 or
Billions.
something. It's like, I mean, it's just unbelievable. So I
I
do
mean,
think it helped a lot.
I think I'm not gonna lie to you. I think there's still some people out there that if I did meet them in person, I still might catch myself being, you know what I mean? Like, let me take a moment because this is a little bit overwhelming. But I think,
Who would that be? Who is that
well,
person?
for
Who's that
me,
person?
for me,
Shoot,
shoot, man, Will Smith.
I
Just
met him.
because, just stop it, man, stop it.
That Muhammad Ali movie that they did, that
Oh
Ali,
man, I
that
love that
movie
movie.
was one of the big scenes in that movie was shot directly across the street from my clothing store in Fort Lauderdale.
Really?
So I met everybody.
Yeah, of course. Just standing outside, I bet.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, so Will Smith. But see, the reason why is because, man, I've grown up with him. I mean, like, literally as early as I can remember, Will Smith was an influential part of not only my early lifestyle, but my middle life, and then on into my later life. You know what I mean? So
He's
definitely
like
him.
you too, though. He's a rapper who raps about positive things, and I can see you
Exactly.
identifying with that.
Well, and please don't tell him this, but he is actually probably the second biggest inspiration for the way I write my lyrics. The first, obviously, being Big. But I wanted to be like him so much, and I think that the difference in his style was great for a white artist to try to emulate, especially when you have comparisons like what we have out there today. You obviously see that he had a better results with, with some of his projects, but we're still young, we're still kicking.
I know. I
But yeah,
love his music,
definitely.
though.
Oh man, isn't it?
His
It's great. I loved his whole CD, man. It, like, front to back, like, especially Miami. Like, that
Yeah.
was my jam. I mean, yeah, Will Smith definitely. I think um, I really don't know after that, honestly, because I think everybody else that I would be cool with. You know what I mean? I don't think it would be an overwhelming aspect. Um, I don't know. I can't think of really anybody else after that, man. Ron. When I see Ron, I'll be like, oh. But no,
Everybody's got their different ones, though. Like for me, my person that I would like to interview the most in the world, I have two of them, but well, one of them is Molly Ringwald, which to most people would probably be like, oh, she was really popular at one time, and she's still on all these Riverdale and all these
she's
shows
in
and
a
stuff. But
show right now. She has like an own show, doesn't she? Like,
she's in all kinds of shit. But I
I
love
just,
Molly Ringwald. For me, Pretty in
yeah.
Pink and The Breakfast Club, those are like the greatest movies like of all time. I freaking like love them. The other
Oh,
one, though, the
classics,
one
definitely.
person, my number one dream person, though, was Charlize Theron. Like, if I could
Really?
be one A-list person, I love her. She's in the Fast and Furious movies. Did you see that movie she did where she ran for president? It just came out last year. I forgot the name of it, but
Think so. I don't think
so
so.
it's.
The one that really blew my mind was Monster.
Oh yeah,
Monster
that was good.
that was
This
incredible.
one's a comedy though. I've watched this comedy. It's on HBO. I've watched it like 20 times. I saw it in the theater too. Hang on, it's so funny. I mean, it's totally politically incorrect. It's got like all kinds of weird stuff in it, but it's a hilarious.
references and
It's got Will. No, what's the guy? Not Will Ferrell. It's got that funny guy. Seth Rogen.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think it's
No, I don't know the movie though.
Isn't that funny? I'm trying to look it up and the damn fucking internet's working. But anyway, it's not working. But
You
anyway,
said politically incorrect movie.
I mean, she's running for president, and like there's a
Okay.
thing where he's getting blackmailed for jerking off to her. Like, and he jerks off all over his face, and then he's getting blackmailed for her to like, do stuff she doesn't want to do. I mean, so it's just a funny comedy.
Yeah.
And
It seems like it reminds me of what was that movie with holy god dang it, now I can't even remember, where he has the softball and he freaks
oh
out
yeah,
over You know what I'm talking about? What's that one? Way back in the day, I can't remember it now. Oh my God, it was real raunchy like that, you know. And he's sitting there whacking off in the bathroom, and then she uses it as a hair gel for herself. What was that movie?
This
Oh my
movie's
God.
called Long Shot. It's called Long Shot, and it was hilarious. Everybody, it's on HBO right now. You guys got to watch it. It's super funny, but I just love her. I love her because she's in the Fast and Furious movies too. Monster was a great movie.
Yeah.
She was in Atomic Blonde, and like I have a guy who was on our show who's kind of a friend of mine who's been in everything, and like he was in Atomic Blonde, and I just like her. I just think there's something about her. I've never met her, so I don't know if she's nice or not.
Would you get giggly and stuff? Would you be like?
Oh, I would like. I probably would like lose my breath. You know, I probably would. It's so funny though, because like I haven't lost my breath a lot. I lost my breath the very first radio show I ever did because I was nervous. You know, and so like, and I had Joya Bruna on. Joya Bruna was one of the singers of Expose, which is one of the biggest girl groups. Right. And she was a good friend of mine. I didn't even like I already knew her, but I think it was just being on the radio for the first time and everything. It made it you know, nerve-wracking.
A lot at one moment.
I lost my breath when I met Tara Reid, and I don't even know why.
That's the blonde-haired one, right?
Yeah, from American Pie and Sharknado and stuff. I met her. She's at every premiere we go to, so I've met her a bunch. But the first time I met her, you know, for some reason I like lost my breath, and I'm not even sure why. I mean, she's cool and everything. She's fabulous. She's fun. She was super nice to me. Yeah. But I don't know why I lost my breath though, because it's not like, oh my God, not like Charlize Theron would do or Molly Ringwald would do to me.
Yeah. Especially since you've been around some legends. So I mean, you would think that would not happen at all. So these moments that do happen,
I know. So they do happen. I'm always trying to figure out why it didn't happen. But if I met Charlize Theron, it would be a big deal. Like in music, you know, I've met Elton John and I met Jay-Z. I met a lot of really cool people in music. Yeah. And so musicians, I don't probably get as flustered. I don't get as flustered with musicians as I do with some of the actors.
Because you're more of an actor. That's your preference, right?
Yeah, that's my preference.
Yeah, see, yeah. So, all right. So let's move it on a little bit here. Entertainment field, man. This is a brutal game, man. So, what made you choose and stick with it? Was this a driving dream of yours? Was this just chance? Scenarios that occurred in an order. I mean, you know.
You know what? No, I started working in entertainment because I wanted to be a clothing designer.
So that was your dream was to be clothing.
The dream was to be a big clothing designer, and I thought that before I got eminent domain and lost all my money, I was on my way to doing that. Yeah. But I became a clothing designer. One reason because I didn't think I had really talent to do entertainment, and I knew that could get me into entertainment without having to be an entertainer. Gotcha. So I've always enjoyed it, and I've always wanted to be a part of it. You know, it's a very hard. You know yourself, it's a very hard field.
Yeah.
To be in, and so.
Yeah, man. So if there's one thing out of this whole, you've made a lot of choices, you've done a lot of career paths and situations. If there was one out of here or one moment, what would be the changing one that you could go back and you'd say, let's do this moment a little differently, or let's handle this situation a little differently?
You know what?
It seems like a lot of it sounds like that eminent domain one.
When I got eminent domain, it was a big deal, and I had a different partner at that time, and nobody listened to me. If we would have listened to me, I would have been able to fight it better. But everybody thought they knew better than me, right. And because of that, we got slammed. I mean, we got handed. So I think that had a big influence on me growing up. I like clothing, but my first passion was tennis. I wanted to be a professional tennis player.
Oh, nice.
I played tennis through college, and I was good enough.
What college?
University of Florida. I'm a Gator.
I should have figured that. Right? Okay.
So I was a good tennis player, but I wasn't good enough to be like a John McEnroe. I could have been like a teaching pro at a club or something like that. Yeah. I wasn't good enough to make tons of money, so I had to revamp my whole career choices, and I started working in clothing for many years, and I loved it, and I thought I could do a better job, and I've always been into fashion, so that's just so I while I was working for somebody else, I took my savings and I bought a building and opened up my own store, and then once my own store got successful enough, I quit the job that I had. And did it full time, and I was really good at it for many years. Before the eminent domain, things were going really good.
What's your favorite piece ever created?
I have these cool jeans. They're featured in a magazine, and they kind of look like Rastafarian jeans. They're jeans with all these like denim string things hanging down all over, but then
Gotcha.
the pants underneath it, the denim part underneath it said "fuck" all over it.
Nice.
It was featured in all kinds of magazines.
Nice.
I also made when Winona Ryder got caught for shoplifting.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had a free Winona shirt, and then in the middle of it had a picture of her, and then over the middle of it I embroidered "shoplifting bitch," and that one was a lot of fun. That my whole thing was I only made one of everything. I made one of a kind. So I had another one. I had an old vintage Whitney Houston shirt, and I had crack whore put over the front of it, and I had it in the window of my store, and Sony or somebody came after me and tried to sue me.
I bet they probably all over that one quickly.
But I sold it though before they could, get back.
Yeah. All right, so you talk about meeting with Ron and that turning into a wonderful 8-year. You said 8-year relationship, and then you talked about meeting Eileen and turning that into a wonderful, successful team. So what is your what advice would you give to people out there? Say like somebody who's wanting to take the steps just like you and build a team to become a publicist or a team to become a co-hosting duo, or what is your advice to them?
You know what? My advice is don't be a dick. Well,
I tell you what, that is some great advice, because you don't realize how many people are that very same thing. I'm telling you, man.
Well, you know what it is? Like I work with all kinds of cool people, and most of them I've met on Twitter. The same way I met you. I met you on Twitter. Yeah. And a lot of people in their Twitter feed, all they do is splash out, look at me here, look at me here, look at me here, but they don't actually interact with people. If you want to develop a fan base and find people to work with you, you can't just be all about me. Yep. You support the people who support you. So if people are retweeting your shit, you got to go retweet their shit. And if they say hello to you, you don't blow it off. You fucking got to talk to them. And so my whole thing is if everybody worked together for everybody to become successful, everybody would do better. But instead, everybody tries to steal from you and take what they can get from you and do whatever they can do to help themselves without helping you, back. And I think that's the shit that's like super fucked up. Like if everybody would just help each other, be supportive of each other, everybody could do well. But when you're all about just you and everything you can get and you don't want to give everything back, you're never going to go anywhere, because nobody can build an empire by themselves.
Exactly. And, I think a lot of times that we find ourselves, that's where that forgetting about the little guy really plays a big part. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people out here that we might not even pay attention to, and then one day you'll see that they've been a supporter for the longest time era. And all it takes is just the smallest thing, a simple thank you, an interaction, something of, just a pat on the back for somebody who you may work with that's doing a good job. Just the smallest little thing, goes a long way in establishing a good relationship with nobody being a dick. You know what I mean?
So, absolutely. Everybody wants to be acknowledged for whatever they're doing.
Yeah, man.
And I think everybody should try to be the best at what they want to do. So if you want to be in the entertainment area, you should try to be the best. If you want to be a lawyer, you should try to be the best. If you're a garbage man, you should be the best garbage man. Whatever it is that you're doing, you should try to be the best at what you can do and work with as many people as you can. And I think, on our show, the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, we have a chat room. We acknowledge the people in the chat room on air live so they get to hear it. I tweet with all those people. We Facebook with all those people. I think anybody who supports you, you need to be supportive back, or otherwise it's, a one way. Just like with you, that's how I met you. We were supporting each other.
Well, and what's so funny is, I know you don't know this, or maybe you do, and it's just something we don't mention out loud. But I was a even more struggling artist about 4 years ago, about 3.5, 4 years ago. To the point where it was, it was a depressing kind of struggle. And you retweeted me out of the clear blue. And you were like one of the first blue checked little celebrities on Twitter that had ever retweeted or ever supported me. And from that moment on, I was like, man, that's so cool. Thank you. And then, like 2 years went past, and I was sitting there, and I've been retweeting you and stuff like that, but it wasn't what you would call supportive, right? And I was interacting with you, and I said, thank you again for your support or retweets. And he said, somebody tweeted back to me, well, how come you don't support Jimmy Star? And I was like, I sat back for like a week after that, and I was like, you know what? Man, ain't that the truth, man? And from that moment on, I was like, yo, we got this. We're gonna, and boy, it turned into such a great, boy, it's turned into a really good thing, man. The
Absolutely, dude.
One of the best friendships I've had.
We're like family. That's right.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Like, even my kids were like, are we gonna get to say hi today? And I'm like, well, this is a little bit more professional, you know what I mean? But man, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to the ice cream. I'm looking forward to Ron. You meet people in life, and either A, you're like, this is somebody who is going to be in my life for a while, or you're like, B, this is just a touch and go. And if it's a touch and go, then you don't get too close. You don't get too friendly. You don't get too associative. But if it's something that's long term, then you like to try to solidify, and you like to try to build, and you network. And man, I'm going to tell you something, dude. I just put out a great EP with a guy named Marcus Furious Nias. Okay. And this guy, I'm glad that you introduced the two of us, because we're so similar minded that the EP came out great. We have future plans for even more incredible artwork, but it all started with the amazing King of Cool, Dr. Jimmy Star. And that's that networking, and that's that building that you're talking about right there. And you can't be a dick in none of it, right? You know what I mean? Like, none of us could be that way, So it was great.
Is badass. He's a cool guy. He's got his own show called Deeper Than Music.
Yes,
you guys, yes. Is the EP out already?
Yeah, man.
So it's called Theory.
Just broke 1,000 streams on Spotify yesterday.
There you go. So you guys, it's called Theory of It. You got to get it, and I'm going to be doing some press on it at the end of the week. Nice. He sent me everything, and it's a great collaboration, and he's a cool guy. And you're a cool guy, and so I'm happy. And see now, and that's everybody. That's how the whole networking thing works. If you're not a dick, you can network. You know what? As a publicist, I got Twism on Furious's show.
Right.
And they became friends. Now look, they put out an EP together. I'm doing like some press for the EP. It's got 1,000 streams. The shit hasn't been out that long. I mean, that's the way it works if you're cool. But if you're a dick, this shit doesn't work.
You don't get none of that, right? You get put to the side and you get cast out, because people don't want bad business in their circles. They don't want bad, everybody. Okay, so you try to find people that are so like-minded. You maybe allow a new one in to see if they're like-minded. But if they don't last or they don't make it, then you have to cut that out, because if not, then that's going to affect everybody else that you are associated with, and you can't allow that to go on. You know what I mean? And I think that's a lot of what happens, especially because the world glorifies drama and evil. So when a celebrity has a problem with another celebrity, that's the biggest news story of the day, right? Yeah. So indie people, we think that's the key to success, man. Oh, let me start some problems with another indie artist so that we can become successful together. Man, that's not how it works, man. The key is work, and you've shown us, not only with leading the way in clothing designing, but from leading the way in co-hosting to leading the way in being an entertainment icon, that work is the way to get the job done, whether it's networking, whether it's hard working, or whether it's just work. You understand what I mean?
Everybody's got to work. Nothing is given to anybody, even the people you think. Like, I dressed the Goo Goo Dolls one time.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah.
Okay, so the Goo Goo Dolls, they were pretty cool, right? Yes. So you're talking, and when their album came out and they had Iris and all those hits and everything, they were like, everybody thought they were like, oh my God, these guys came out of nowhere. They've been touring in a van for 15 years before that happened. Yeah, and so like nobody is an overnight sensation unless you're lucky or you got a lot of money. Because if you got a lot of money, you can be an overnight.
Unless you're Justin Bieber.
even he was on YouTube for a long time.
Some YouTube stuff. I know. I'm just
happens that he was like cute and everything. And some of these people I don't get though. So I was reading on Jimmy Star's World. By the way, everybody, I got a blog, JimmyStarsWorld.com, and one of the blog posts on there was, well, who's that guy who just got out of prison but he's under parole, like Tekashi 9 or something, or
619? You know what? I don't care. I don't like mentioning names of people that are not worth it.
I don't even get it though. The dude's been in prison for like a year, and he never had a hit on the radio ever. And he went out and bought like $6 million worth of cars or some shit. I was like, how the fuck does he get? I mean, I don't even know. I mean, he's got like fucking tattoos all over his face. You got to be some dumb motherfucker to get your face tattooed. I don't give a shit who you are.
And you know what's worse is that not only that he's a snitch, he's a pedophile, and on top of all of this, he does not even he's not an established icon in this musical world.
Yeah, so
like,
but who's paying him all that money that he can afford that shit? He's got to be like dealing drugs. He's got to be doing something really crooked because he went out and bought like 6 cars in one day, and I don't mean like fucking Toyotas, like Rolls Royces,
Bugattis and Royces, yeah,
like
you know what I mean.
Shit that, like in our whole lifetime, we won't be able to afford one of those.
Exactly. And you know what's the most frustrating is that good people. What they come in all forms. They come in all entertainment fields. Good people are out there, but they will always be overlooked, however you want to say it. Because like I said before, the world glorifies negativity and evil. So if you're not talking about some kind of drama, nobody wants to pay attention. And that I think is something society as a whole kind of fell into. You know what I mean? With the internet age, everybody started digging up dirt. You know what I mean? We used to watch hard copy back in the day. Don't lie. You used to watch hard copy.
I probably watched it some. But my whole thing is that everybody deserves a chance, and unfortunately, everybody doesn't get a chance. But I think that if people really want to find great talent, you need to look for the indie filmmakers, the indie artists, the indie things, because most of the time the only reason that they're not getting discovered is because they don't have somebody behind them bankrolling it. Otherwise,
and they're the ones putting their heart and soul into it, right? They're the ones that are doing it because they want to. You know what I mean? So, okay, so let's round out this last 5 minutes, man. Let's go ahead. You said you got JimmyStarsWorld.com, okay?
Yep.
Which I mean, pretty much, if you're a smart person, which I know you are, you've went ahead and made it the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell across the board, no matter where you're at. Right?
Oh, yeah. If you go to JimmyStarsWorld.com, first of all, it has information about everything. It does all the biggest news in Hollywood and in music. It's also got information about World Star PR. It's got information about the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, information about all the films I'm working on. It's got everything. So you can go there. It's like a one-stop shopping for it. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Dr. Jimmy Star, Dr. Jimmy Star. Jimmy Star Show is at Jimmy Star Show. World Star PR is at World Star PR. And Jimmy Star World's at Jimmy Star's World. And I'm at Dr. Jimmy Star on Instagram. And Instagram is like my new thing that I'm like enjoying a lot. Like I started
and independent musicians. You're cutting in. Sorry, you paused for a second. What happened?
I was just gonna say Instagram is kind of like my new favorite like place to be in social media. So I've been posting a lot of cool stuff. I started doing Instagram TV. Which have you done Instagram TV?
You know what, man? I'm so busy all over the place that I think, like, to me, when you say Snapchats and Instagrams, I just think another headache, man. That's what it is. It's another headache to me. Another moment for me to try to find time to do something. I got the 5 kids, so that's like the majority of my time. But no, I have. I just started learning the highlights and the stories where you can post in the bubbles above your main post. So
I don't even know how to do that.
I've got the Jimmy Star interview, the Hype Magazine interview, and another interview up there. But that's as most of I've learned, man. I'm a Twitter guy.
I like Twitter. Twitter's my number 1. Yeah. Instagram's my number 2. But Instagram TV, you can upload videos. If you do it from your computer, you can upload videos up to an hour long. So I'm starting to put interviews from the Jimmy Star Show on my on my Instagram.
Oh, I might have to figure that out then. Yes,
that one's easy, but can't do it from your phone. You got to do it from a computer, and then you just you go to your homepage, you hit the thing that says IGTV, and you can post, and it's just like YouTube. You fill in the description and everything, and it goes out. And I got like 50,000 views in the last week.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Stuff that I posted on IGTV.
See, so thank you for passing along knowledge because I've been missing out on some stuff evidently.
And listen up, everybody. Listen too, though, you guys. Listen up. Twism is a really good guy. You know what? He's got a wife. He's got a family. He stands by him. He's pursuing his dreams. Everybody needs to support his shit. And what's your website?
www.officialtwismwhitepiece.com.
So you guys need to go to officialtwismwhitepiece.com. You need to go on iTunes. He's an indie artist. You need to download his shit, especially the Jimmy and Ron song because it is so awesome. The Jimmy. It is so awesome, you guys. It's a really great song, and we so appreciate that he did that for us. And you guys need to follow him, and you guys need to follow him as a host. You need to listen to his radio station, Fat Cat Radio. It's badass. And really support indie artists, because that's where it's all at. I'm indie. I'm 100% indie. We love it if you guys check out our show. We're on W4CY.com Wednesdays from 12 to 2 or 3 to 5 p.m. 12 to 2 p.m. Pacific time, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Check it out. We're a lot of fun. And Twism, you're a rock star, dude. Thank you so much.
Real quick before you go, man, do you know the words to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song?
I probably do.
Okay, you want to try to do some karaoke? I see you do karaoke with all your friends all the time. So
that's at my house. That's at my house. Well, we had the words though. Hang on.
Okay, well let's. I'll try to pull up some words here too. Let's see.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Hang on.
Fresh Prince Bel-Air song. Let's see if we get the lyric. Let's see, lyric version. What do you got? Did you get it yet? I got it right here. You ready? I don't know. Will you be able to hear it?
I don't know. Hold on. How come it's not coming up? Daily Motion video. Play. Go. We need this shit on YouTube. I should have found it on YouTube.
I got it on YouTube. I'm waiting for you to say go.
All right, go. Let's see if I can do it. I don't know if I
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. 3.
I gotta hear it, so I don't even remember what it is.
This is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down.
Well, shit, I don't know it. I know Ice Ice Baby.
Ice Ice Baby. Now see, I don't know that one. I can bring my wife in here and she'll rattle that one off.
Ice Ice Baby and Good Vibrations by Marky Mark are my two go-tos.
Good Vibrations. And here I thought Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would be a good medium between the two of us. All right, well, we tried. Anyways, so, hey, Jimmy, it was an absolute pleasure, brother. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on this show, man. It was fun, it was entertaining, and it was a lot of stuff that, I don't think maybe some people know. A lot of people watch your show and they know one version of you, but there are a lot of people out there who maybe have never even seen the other side of you. So it was good to have you come in here. Now, real quick, though, I had one person text me and they want to know what's in the background. Speak out some of the stuff that's in the background behind you. They wanted to know.
Let's see I don't know if you can see this shit.
I
got a 7-foot werewolf.
Okay.
A 6-foot clown. Okay. I got a 6-foot Michael Myers from Halloween.
I think the question was more directed towards what's on your top shelf behind your head there. So I don't know if you can see. Yeah.
A clown, werewolf. I got Freddy. I got Jason, Freddy, Pinhead, a Wolfman. I also have a 4-foot Darth Vader, a 4-foot Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, a 4-foot Batman, a 3-foot Chucky.
Man, and here I thought I was doing amazing with my little collection.
I know most of my stuff is signed by whoever was in it. I collect Funko Pops of everybody who's been on our show who has one, so I have like 100 Funko Pops of people who've been on our show.
That's crazy. All right, well, thank you so much for taking the time, man. You have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you again, everybody. This was SCR 247 in association with World Star PR, Anything Goes Podcast, Hood X Radio, and, of course, the Big Rich social media station, man. You guys have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.